Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are grabbing a stack of source material that really redefines modern executive success. It argues that the new superpower in business leadership isn't what you know, but, well, it's about how effectively you can connect others. We're talking about network orchestration, and our mission today is to take you straight into the heart of this research. It makes a very, very compelling case that traditional business models, especially in sectors like, convenience retail, food service, mobility, they just can't match the speed of AI and automation. If you're playing by the old rules, you've already lost.
That's the essential contrast right there.
Yeah.
The sources argue that relying purely on your own internal capabilities, your in-house R&D, your legacy strategy department, well, it's just a recipe for slow failure. Instead, curated access to external knowledge and these trust-based peer networks have become the highest value assets. We're moving beyond simple networking, just collecting contacts, to actively orchestrating a whole knowledge ecosystem.
That completely reframes the leader's job, doesn't it? I mean, the old assumption was the best leader had the deepest internal expertise. But if this research is right, success now comes from learning faster and collaborating broader. It's not about knowing more.
Exactly. And to get why this is happening now, you have to look at why the traditional advantages are just dying. Historically, success was built on these huge, slow-moving pillars, right? Massive scale, massive capex, physical assets, brand equity.
Yeah.
But those assets are turning into liabilities. And why is that? Because a network advantage, which is all about speed, global idea flow, and cross-industry interpretation, it can move and adapt so much faster than a $100 million factory or a legacy IT system. Speed is really the only currency that matters in the age of AI.
I think that's the hardest pill for a lot of leaders to swallow. They've spent decades building scale, and now that very scale is what's making them slow.
It is. Because you have three huge shifts hitting these industries all at once, and you can't solve any of them by yourself internally. First, AI and robotics are scaling up. So what that means for strategy is you have to reinvent your entire business model. The network's role here is crucial because you need shared learning, you need rapid use case transfer. No company can afford to pilot every single automation idea on its own. You need to know what failed in Japan and what worked in Germany yesterday.
Wow. And the second piece is we're now firmly in the age of hybrid and ecosystem economics. So the value isn't just in your linear supply chain anymore. It's created outside through integration. That demands immediate, strong partnerships and alliances. Your value is defined by who you connect to.
And the third piece hits every single sector, the workforce upskilling deficit.
And it's
The skills you need for this new era, AI management, automation integration, human-centric leadership, they're not just on the market ready for you to hire. You're forced into what they call collaborative capability building.
So if we just zoom out for a second, this isn't about efficiency. This is really about survival. And the source material offers a really powerful, almost sobering conclusion here. It says that in the next decade,
No company will be able to transform alone.
that is a stark challenge to the old CEO playbook.
It's a group effort now. And your strategic edge comes from the quality of the knowledge flowing into that group.
Okay, so if we accept that networks are the future, how does this actually translate into a measurable competitive advantage? This can't just be a theoretical chat about collaboration, right? There has to be some hard, evidence-based logic. How do you monetize it?
The sources detail 4 specific value levers, 4 ways to turn collaboration into a hard advantage. Number 1 is knowledge compounding. So peer shared insights dramatically shorten your learning cycles, but the most important part is that they reduce your strategic blind spots. If a group of your peers around the world has already tested 5 failed pilots on a new automation system, you get to skip straight to the 6th successful one. That saves you time and a ton of capital. 2 is pattern recognition. Exposure to global best practices, not just what your local rival is doing, but what's happening in mobility in Southeast Asia or convenience in North America. That fundamentally increases the quality of your innovation, and it reduces the cost of failure. You're building on a global context, not just local assumptions.
I find the third one, trust-based collaboration, really fascinating. Because in a high-stakes competitive world, it takes a huge amount of trust to share your internal struggles. But the benefit is clear. It means faster deal-making, co-innovation, and this crucial safe space problem-solving. You can admit you're struggling with a digital transformation piece without worrying that your competitor is going to weaponize that. It's accelerated transparency.
And finally, number 4, capability acceleration. Mindset and skills transformation. Well, it's profoundly social. Shared education among peers is just vastly superior to isolated in-house training. It speeds up the adoption of new ways of thinking. And this whole structure, it aligns perfectly with Metcalfe's law. The value of a network membership grows exponentially as participation grows. You don't just add value, you multiply it.
Okay, that's the theory. But how do you actually build this on the ground? We're not talking about informal lunches. The sources describe a very specific architecture for this, what they call the tripartite ecosystem leadership model.
Yeah, and this model is basically a strategic triangle. It blends global insights, peer-driven innovation, and capability building. And it's driven by orchestrating three interconnected, high-impact platforms that are all designed just to move knowledge.
Let's break those three down because this is where the jargon can get a bit dense, but the concept is brilliant. So what's the first pillar?
The first is the NACS Global Network. NACS is the National Association of Convenience Stores, but in this context, their role is as a European ambassador and connector. Strategically, NACS bridges U.S. innovation, which often moves at hyperspeed in retail with the European markets. It ensures global coherence. It's kind of the backbone for international innovation diffusion.
Okay, so that's the global insight engine. What about the peer-driven innovation piece?
That's pillar number two. The Global Convenience Vision Group Network, or VGN. This is a very specific founder-facilitated structure. It's a high-trust, C-suite peer think tank. We're talking over 40 forums of top executives.
Wait, 40 forums. That sounds like a lot of meetings. What's the measurable output there? What's the strategic value of having executives talking in 40 different groups?
The value is high-frequency thought leadership, and this is critical, early signal detection. These networks are designed to spot an inflection point before it becomes a widely reported trend. If you have 40 groups talking about customer behavior in specific micro-markets, you get this composite picture that can give you 6 months of strategic lead time.
And 6 months can be the difference between leading and following in an AI transformation. Okay, so the third leg of that triangle must be the skills deficit we talked about.
Absolutely. That's the Institute of Culinary Art, the ICA. Their strategic value is focused entirely on education and transformation. They deliver the skills, the mindset shifts, the leadership development. They function as the vital workforce and capability pipeline for the DACH region.
Just to pause on that, the DACH region, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, is a huge hub for this industry. So the ICA makes sure that region has the actual human capital to execute on the strategy that the VGN detected and NACS benchmark.
Precisely. Synthesis is where the power is. You have network intelligence plus peer innovation plus capability development. And that equals market transformation power. It's a dynamic, interconnected system. It's the very definition of network orchestration.
That makes perfect sense, but how does this move from meetings and knowledge sharing into tangible action? You have to operationalize it.
This is where the sources reveal the operational brilliance of the model. It's a strategic event flywheel architecture. They explain the flow as a continuous loop, from insight to education to mobilization, and then finally to transformation.
Okay, so let's walk through that with the real-world sequence of events they lay out. What's the first step?
The insight comes from VGN and the global benchmarking. That insight flows directly into the education phase. A great example is the upcoming ICA network meeting in Cologne. That event is laser-focused on capability building for hundreds of food service executives. They take the new insights and convert them into teachable, scalable skills. Then you have the VGN Global Virtual Summit. This is a quick knowledge transfer step, bringing together leaders for the latest global foresight and innovation convergence.
And the final piece, the key to mobilization, is the TRM Convenience Con in Hamburg. And this isn't positioned as a strategy retreat. It's the action platform. It's where companies move from thinking and insight into actually piloting and scaling projects. They mobilize the learning.
And this structured approach is just a dramatic contrast to the old way of doing things. Without these orchestrated networks, a company gets slow, siloed innovation, late recognition of disruption. And they have to use a high-risk, very expensive CapEx approach for every single transformation attempt.
Whereas with this network flywheel, you get accelerated, exponential learning. You get risk reduction through shared knowledge. And your pilot testing is essentially subsidized by the collective experience of global peers.
The strategic insight here is absolutely revolutionary, and we should probably pause on it. In the age of AI, the network replaces the laboratory, the strategy department, and even parts of the consulting function.
Which means executive leadership should be scrutinizing their internal budgets for R&D and asking if that money shouldn't be redirected into funding external network architecture. That is a complete restructuring of the C-suite's investment portfolio.
And the orchestrators are already looking ahead. They're looking at the next necessary layer of acceleration. The sources mention a 2026 initiative called the Leaders Collective.
This addresses a pretty clear gap. Industry transformation needs diverse thinking, and AI actually increases the value of human-centric leadership, of diverse perspectives. And yet, women are still significantly underrepresented in senior convenience and food service leadership.
And the sources argue this isn't just about diversity as a policy issue, it's a strategic accelerant. They point out that networks, when they're architected correctly, can scale equality faster than traditional HR programs because they focus on active sponsorship and capability, not just mentorship. They outline three specific pillars for this platform. First, Aspire, which is focused on visibility, role models, and confidence building. Second is Advance. That's centered on strategy mastery, leadership training, and board readiness for high-potential leaders.
And the third pillar, which makes this so different, is Accelerate. This is about hard-edge support through specific sponsorship opportunities, high-profile projects, and even cross-company placements.
It's crucial that the narrative here is strong. Look, they're making it super clear this is not just another networking group. It's explicitly a capability and sponsorship-driven transformation catalyst. It reinforces the capability pillar of the entire model, but through a diversity lens.
So if we look back at this entire deep dive, the central theme is absolutely the strategic power of orchestration over just mere participation. The real leverage today comes from designing these knowledge flows, not just being a passive recipient of them.
The ability to architect these networks, to define the connections, the trust levels, the transfer points, that is the ultimate new superpower.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? The final strategic insight from the sources, I think, summarizes it perfectly. Quote, in a world where knowledge is democratized, advantage belongs to those who connect the dots faster than others.
It's a huge shift from knowledge hoarding to knowledge flow design.
And that leads us directly to our final provocative thought for you to chew on. If your external network is truly replacing your strategy department, how do you measure the ROI of investing in external network architecture versus the sunk costs of your traditional internal strategic capacity? What internal functions should you stop funding today to fully fuel your network investments tomorrow? We'll leave you with that challenge.